people working to reform the education system that simply passes a child from grade to grade, regardless if he can read or write. They want to give parents the freedom to choose the school that's best for their child, but there are those who support the status quo, like the teachers' unions.
Their entire livelihood and profession is driven by whatever the board approves, and so if the MEA is concerned about health care benefits or salaries or teaching conditions, they need to have the board filled with people that are sympathetic to their causes.
That's Mike Reno, a former school board member in Rochester, Michigan. He's talking about the Michigan Education Association.
I think that the MEA has its strongest influence not necessarily at the board table, but at the ballot box. They influence elections through PAC contributions, through getting teachers involved in campaigns, and as a result, they end up oftentimes getting candidates elected that are sympathetic to their causes. And what it ultimately creates is debates over adult issues, not about children.
Yet unions work to convince the public their focus is on the children.
The MEA is now advertising, I notice on radio, what they're doing to educate children and prepare them for jobs of the future and so forth.
Frank Webster is a former director of the Michigan Education Special Services Association, known as MESA, the MEA's health insurance plan.
I can tell you from personal experience in the short time I was at MESA, which was over 2 years, but I was also sat on the MEA cabinet at the time. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that the MEA has no interest in education. Their first interest is their membership.
But the former general counsel of the National Education Association, Bob Chanin, talks about the union's real priority.
NEA and its affiliates must never lose sight of the fact that they are unions. And what unions do, first and foremost, is represent their members.
According to the website opensecrets.org, labor unions like the UAW and the Teamsters have contributed more than $54 million from 1989 to 2009 to political campaigns. And the two largest teachers unions, the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association, have contributed more than $59 million. At a rally in Lansing, the president of the MEA, Ira Salters, calls out lawmakers.
They need to do their job, or we're going to see that they don't have a job.
Teachers' unions have had a lot of success at the local level. They spent millions on political activities, such as $15,000 on ads in a Grand Rapids school board race.
There's inherently nothing illegal about the MEA contributing to candidates, but it creates a huge conflict of interest. And you are then left to wonder later on in contract negotiations when some people are being somewhat sympathetic to the MEA side of this. Are they doing so as a quid pro quo? Are they doing so because that's what they believe? You really don't know, and that creates a bit of a problem, I think.
When you look at school boards across the state, those people that ran for school board positions didn't run for the purpose of making decisions about wages and benefits and those kind of things. They ran for other reasons. And there's many examples across the state where some members of school boards have tried to stand up to MESA and the MEA. And what happens is that they either get recalled by a recall vote, or the next time there's a vote for the school board, you can be sure that a member of the MEA, or the spouse of a member of the MEA, or a friend of the MEA will run for that position, and the MEA will get them elected and throw off the people that don't support the MEA and MESA.
Now, technically, the money from MEA or from MESA going to the MEA cannot be used for political action, but there's, I'm sure, different ways that money somehow gets used for political action.
Stephen Beecher is a former local union president and a former member of the Wayne Westland School Board. He says after teachers went on strike in 2008, there was an effort to recall several school board members.
Who was really behind it? Well, I would say the MEA is behind it, the Wayne Westland Education Association, but they will say no, that they had nothing to do with it. It was a group of parents who on their own decided to do this, but I don't believe that. It was an MEA recall. They They provided money, they provided materials, they provided help with drafting the petition for recall. Unfortunately, Wayne Westland school board meetings I think are probably indicative of most. You maybe get 10 or 15 people showing up, unless it's a big issue like the strike, and then the place is packed. But people don't care. And that's why MEA is so successful in running school board elections and recall elections.
Beverly Galtner has been involved in public education for over 40 years. She found this on the MEA website.
And there it was, and it was just like this clinical roadmap to how all you had to do was find someone who lived in your community, who was a teacher in another district, and ideally had been an MEA president, or maybe was an MEA president now, and really, target your campaign like the best marketing strategy. If you've come out with a new soap, you're going to market that soap and do all kinds of studies, and you follow this roadmap, and the odds are you're going to have a winner. And my goodness, I remember in one district, within 1 year, 3 MEA members or retirees were elected, and suddenly the public school board was in fact an arm of the MEA.
MEA is right up there. It has a large PAC, which means they put money in the hands of the politicians that they like, most of whom are Democrats. Some Republicans, but most are Democrats.
With their political contributions, the union uses their influence to keep education focused on the needs of adults.
When I was at a board meeting in I don't know what year it was, about 1990, Jim Blanchard was then the governor. And an issue came up at an MEA board meeting, and I don't know how many there are probably over 100 MEA board members from all across the state. And somebody from one of the board members said, well, I think we ought to talk to Governor Blanchard about that. 15 minutes later, the doors opened up, and who walked in but Governor Jim Blanchard. That's how powerful the MEA is, particularly with the Democratic governor. Listen, if you're running for public office, who are you going to go try to get support from? You're going to try to get support from the MEA.
And I think also that the MEA influence goes all the way up to Lansing, to members of the State Board of Education. I know of their contributions to local elections, but I understand, because I've confronted some local candidates on that and asked them about the MEA contributions, and they say, well, we get corporate contributions. I said, fine. Except the corporation is not going to be negotiating the contract with you. When the MEA gives you money and supports you, and you're, I don't know the degree to which you are supporting them, you then have to turn around and negotiate their wage with them. And that causes me some concerns.
The former lawyer for the NEA Channing says the union is powerful, and because of that power, politicians can't ignore them.
NEA and its affiliates are effective advocates because we have power. And we have power because there are more than 3.2 million people who are willing to pay us hundreds of millions of dollars in dues each year because they believe that we are the unions that can most effectively represent them, the unions that can protect their rights and advance their interests as education employees.
The hope is politicians and school boards who have received contributions from unions would still do the right thing.
I see a conflict of interest in having the MEA elect its own boss. You know, essentially what they're doing is contributing money and using their vast resources to elect somebody that is then going to decide how much they get in salary and benefits and working conditions.
But in Illinois, when Scott Reeder, a State House reporter, was investigating tenure, he found school districts would pay a bad teacher to leave rather than fire them because it was cheaper than trying to remove a bad teacher who had tenure, leaving parents and school leaders frustrated.
I think there's a lot of politicians who take the matter seriously, but it's important to remember that the teacher unions are among the largest contributors to political campaigns in Illinois. I mean, I believe if my memory serves me well, the IEA is the #1 contributor in Illinois, and I believe the IFT is the #3 contributor in Illinois to political campaigns of legislators. Nobody wants to get on the bad side of them. Nobody wants to cross them. They may get money dumped into their opponent's race. And it's not just about money. It's about troops on the field. I mean, this is one of the few groups out there that can get large numbers of people out there knocking on doors, campaigning for them. You know, as former Governor Jim Edgar said to me when he first ran for the legislature, you know, he said, it's really important to get the teachers union, not just because of the money they'll give you, but these are really respected people in the community. These are people who educated a large number of the voters' kids or the voters themselves. When they knock on your door and you see your old history teacher standing there asking you to vote for so-and-so, it carries weight. And these people really do not want to cross the teachers union.
In Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois, school employee unions rank among the top 3 political contributors, according to the National Institute on Money in State Politics.
You know, this is supposed to be about our kids, and instead, everything always swirls back to these adult issues.
Reno remembers when he was running for the school board.
In Rochester, there was a election in 2005 where we were trying to help get a sort of rebel or reform candidate involved, and the MEA took that as a very serious threat. They gave very large contributions to the incumbents, trying to get them reelected. And at the time I was elected, there were some detractors that almost accused me of buying the election because I dared to spend about $4,000 of my own money getting a few flyers printed and sending out mailings, that sort of thing. The MEA contributed $3,000 each to each of the candidates, and in addition to that, teachers also contributed directly to them. I'm trying to do what I can to help mend the system. It shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this difficult to try and affect change.
The union makes it hard. A study by Education Next shows the NEA and the AFT and their state affiliates spent more than $100 per teacher in 5 states on political campaigns. Oregon topped the list, spending $360 per teacher in 2007-2008. Teachers' unions say it's because of their power they are media targets.
The Wall Street Journal, Fox News, Forbes magazine, they don't like us very much either. Why, you may ask, is this so? Why are these conservative and right-wing bastards picking on NEA and its affiliates?
The union uses money it collects from its members to maintain its grip on politicians and power. None of the union dues goes into the classroom to help children gain the skills they need to become successful adults.
The states with these strong unions, they've got 2 battles. They're trying to change the system and they're trying to fight the union at the same time. And until they can figure out how to, they're spending all kinds of time trying to make end runs around the union, and therein, I think, lies a big part of the problem.
This is one of 9 films in the Kids Aren't Cars series. Watch them all at kidsaren'tcars.com.